Welcome back to Platform 53. It's been a very long time since the last episode. Partly over the winter months I was suffering quite bad with general flus and losing my voice and not really feeling up to doing anything. So we're now into spring and hay fever has come and gone, and most of the viruses seem to have disappeared apart from the coronavirus that we have floating around at the moment. So I thought, good time to try and get on and finish up this video. And today we're going to look at some of the buildings on the layout and how it's progressed. Just to remind you, this is based on Frome in Somerset, 1960s. It's not a reproduction, it's just been inspired by the place, particularly because of the Brunel period station, the train shed, and it's been wonderfully restored over the years. So without any more to do, let's move on to the video, see some trains, see how it's been developed, and what you'll see in this video is about a year's work that's gone on from the previous video. Let's start with the first loco that I purchased. It's the Class 35 or Hymek, which was very common in the Western region in the early 1960s. Approximately 101 of these were built, and they appeared between 61 and 64. In general, they were used on just about everything, from local passengers to trips to London to freight movement. And then they were retired in the early 70s, and that was essentially because they were classified as non-standard. This was the beginning of the unique trains on the Western region using hydraulic transmission, and it was the only place that they were run, and it seemed an interesting place to start my collection of locos, especially as the layout is based in the Western region. So here we have the first run around the loop, and we see it coming round. The coaches were built from kits, and this is very much how I try and build this layout, where stuff is built from scratch or from some kits where I need the detailed mouldings. So here we have a simple layout going around the room. Very simple, really. Didn't really understand exactly what I was putting together. It's the first layout I've built. And you can see here, on the right-hand side is the Frome area. There's no real sidings there. It's just a couple of loops going round. And on the left-hand side is a station area yet to be defined. And this really didn't survive very long as a layout, and I had to take rails up, and this is a recurring theme throughout the whole of the layout build, and it was a bit of a traumatic effort the first time, but once you get used to the idea of it's not working, you need to change it, you just take the rails up and relay it and redesign it, and off you go again. So the redesign that I adopted is this one. In the red we have the big red blob is the Frome station area, then the smaller red one is the goods yard, and in the blue we have the old Malthouse. So we have a bit more representation of the area around Frome, and I was much happier with the way this ran. There are some mistakes in this. The sidings don't work quite as I hoped they would do, and I've got too much bending in the track, but basically it works. So here we have some shots of Frome Station and the lovely detail on the train shed. And I was fortunate to be able to get hold of the plans because they're in the public domain from the renovations. And so that gave me the basis to be able to build from scratch this building, which is built in card. The station area was again on card with paper to show the building, and here we have some shots as it's progressed quite a long way with the station offices in the front, and behind that the run-through the train shed. By no means perfect. First card built, scratch built building I've ever done. Lots of things worked and lots of things didn't work. I used some ideas from the professionals who build these, who make these kits. I was particularly happy with the way I did the ironwork in there. I thought it represented the real building well. So here we have the Hymet coming in. One thing that you'll quickly note is that it's actually all travelling the wrong way. I hadn't really appreciated the left-hand drive when I set this up, and that caused me to make a number of changes in the layout over time. So here we can see it a little better from the plan view, and here the crossover is going straight over into the goods yard, and that would have been a better solution than the one I ended up with, which was having a bend in there, and that does cause some derailment problems, but I'm not going back and changing it now. You can see the way I got the Malthouse there was to have a run through, so the train comes through there. It enables me to give the building more structure than trying to do a half building. In terms of size, it should be getting on for 4 meters long if it was really to scale. So this is, as you can see, just representing the Malthouse. And today it's been demolished, and I won't have it as a Malthouse. I've got to think of some uses for it as I develop the scene there. As I said, this is not prototypical. It is just using the inspiration of the Frome area. Here we see now the dairy that I've put in, which was connected to the rail routes, and you can see some of the housing and my attempt at back scene there, using photographs and printing them up and patching them together. This is all learning from scratch, and some things are done, some things aren't. Here we have my first real attempts at doing scenery and flocking and static grass, and trying to get some sort of sense of an overgrown area with a bit of an allotment at the back there, and continuing to build the buildings for the dairy, and starting to get some sort of feel of scenery. You can see I put some lights in the carriages now, and there goes the Western, that's my second purchase, and some Mark 1 rail, some Mark 1 carriages as well. So here you can see it's the engine shed, the goods shed is there. That hasn't survived. The scale was all wrong in the end when I started looking at it in more detail. So that's been replaced with one that's slightly smaller. And in the background there we can see the hills going up, there's a cutting going through there, and a brick retaining wall held in there. You can see the flashing lights on there, and that's because I've got no capacitor in there at the moment, and that changes with time. You keep learning these things about what you have to do to make things work the way you want them to. We have the hikers as they're just walking through. Everything is scratch built, the fencing, the signposts. All the rock there is carved out of foam and then painted and weathered. The signal box with the top that's falling off at the moment is a work in progress. Eventually this will have lights in it, and they will be linked to like a display board to show the position of the points. But that's a project to come. And you see the relay box in the corner there. That's got some detail put into it for the relays. And at the back here you can see the crane and the detail of the goods yard and the road leading away from the goods yard going into the back. So this is really, the best part of the year. The station platform I'm not entirely happy with, but it was my first attempt, and it will stay for a while until I get around to repeating it and replacing it. So I'll leave you now just to watch the remaining part of the video with the background music. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little video, and it's brought things almost up to date, actually, to the place I was just after the summer last year. So if you have enjoyed it, subscribe. There will be more videos. It won't be such a long gap between the last one and this one. And let me have your comments on what you would like to see. I plan to show a bit more of the build, but there are also some maybe interesting areas on signaling and how I've started setting that up, and also the automatic braking systems and how I've integrated that into the layout. So let me know what you would like to see, and don't forget to press the like button. And again, thank you for watching. Goodbye.